Two bros chilling in the hot tub.
You the twos and we the ones? Well, you are the biggest two of them all, my dog. That's what you are. You are a giant number two.
Yo, what's on? Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Two Bros Podcast. As always, I am Bryce, and I am joined by.
I am the ever so skeptical co-host, Matt.
So we can actually do a dual sport episode on this episode. We're going to talk both the NBA and the NFL because the NFL has a lot less news right now, and there's still a lot of news. But the NBA, the trade deadline is next week. So we are going to be talking about some potential trade packages, some rumors. But first, you have a little game for me. What is that game?
So you mentioned the trade deadline next week, which we're making a special episode on
Yeah.
next week, but we want to talk a little bit about it now. Bryce, you're going to answer. I'm going to give you some players. And you're going to tell me if they will be traded or not this trade deadline. All right. So let's start off with the biggest fish in the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I'm so on the fence because a report came out yesterday that the Bucks are starting to come to a realization that trading him may be the best option, but I still don't know because because the Bucks are a team who have, let's be honest, realistically, years ago they should have traded Giannis after they won the title, after Dame got hurt, or after they traded Drew Holiday. Realistically, they should have just blown it up. But I think that this is 2 years too late. Well, no, right now is the perfect time. But I'm wondering if they're going to wait a year and then it's too late.
So Bryce, yes or no?
Right now, I'm going to say no.
No.
I'm going to say no, but they should.
Ja Morant.
Yes, 100%. He's gone.
Zion Williamson.
Yes, I think he's gone. I think he's gone too.
The next guy's a player who I think will command an insane amount of draft capital. Trey Murphy.
I think Trey Murphy will go too. I think the Hornets are actually going to blow it up. I think they're going to try to build around Derek Queen because they have no first this year for getting Derek Queen. So they got to try something. So I do think that they're going to blow it up.
We actually don't have a Trey Murphy package in the next thing, but I think we could see LaMelo for Trey.
A lot of picks.
We could see a LaMelo for Trey Murphy swap. I think the two of them, and then some picks heading over to Trey from Trey Murphy. Next is Karl Anthony Towns.
No, only because I think one of the only packages I could realistically do is for the Bucks, and I don't think the cat is going to be traded. But
finally, a name that is swirled a little bit randomly: LeBron James.
No way in hell is LeBron going to be traded. No, that is all smoke. It is all fun and games. It's not happening. LeBron is not being traded.
I agree.
So next, we're going to go on to my thing that I added, and I'm going to see what you think about these potential trade packages. So I did a bunch of trade packages in the NBA trade machine, and I couldn't include picks, so I threw in the picks that I thought that they would offer. So the first one is the Lakers receiving Giannis, and the Bucks receiving Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, Maxi Kleber, Dalton Connect, Jared Vanderbilt, and a 2027 or 2029 first round pick.
I think that is completely not even close to enough for Giannis. I think in the end of the day, I don't think Giannis is going to move this year or even next year. But I think if they were, that would not be close to enough.
Yeah, I think that they're going to be asking way too much right now.
None of those players are close enough to the talent they'd want back.
Next, we have Detroit receiving Giannis and Milwaukee receiving Tobias Harris, Duncan Robinson, Karis LeVert, Ron Holland, and multiple first-round picks.
This one's better for the return for Milwaukee, but I don't foresee them trading him within the conference. I don't think he's
especially in the division.
Yeah, I don't think he would stay within East. So I also don't think Detroit makes this move. They really like the team they have. I think that this doesn't happen.
Next, we have Minnesota receiving Giannis and Milwaukee receiving Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, Rob Dillingham, and multiple first-round picks.
This might be the best one we've seen for Giannis yet. I think if I had to pick one of the choices of the Giannis trades you've shown so far, I think this is the best return Julius Randle's a former All-Star. Jaden McDaniels is a really good defensive player, and Rob Dillingham's a young guy you can try to build around, along with multiple first-round picks. But I still do not see Giannis being moved this year.
Next, we have a few trade packages for John Morant because now we have Sacramento receiving John Morant and Memphis receiving DeMar DeRozan, Dennis Schroeder, and multiple second round picks.
I think that this doesn't really help Sacramento, or this doesn't really help Memphis much. DeMar DeRozan and Dennis Schroeder are two older guys. The second round picks aren't going to do much for the team. I think this is a very unlikely move, especially for a team that probably doesn't want to take on DeMar DeRozan's contract.
That's true. Next, we have Minnesota receiving John Morant and Kentavious Caldwell Pope, and Memphis receives Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, Mike Conley, and multiple first round picks.
So I think Memphis, Minnesota would probably give up too much here. I think realistically, both of those guys combined can probably grab you one first rounder max. John Morant isn't the player that we saw him before. I do like the idea of John Morant heading to Minnesota. I think what he could do with Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I realizing it now, I think multiple firsts is entirely too much. I think multiple seconds is probably the better option.
What I've been
But
reading is that they kind of want a similar trade that Trey Young got, just adding one first round pick on it.
that's fair. I do think he's a little better right now than Trey Young
He's
is.
younger as
But
well.
next, we have the Lakers receiving Michael Porter Jr., and Brooklyn receives Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, DeAndre Ayton, Jackson Hayes, and a 2027 or 2029 first round pick. What do you think of
I
this?
think this is the pick the trade I've seen so far who I actually believe can happen. LA needs a overall just a more I don't know how to say it, more sound third option. You know, LeBron is a great player. He's not looking like the third option anymore. You're kind of looking at Austin Reeves and Luca being the one and two. Of course, Luca's one. I think this would be a great way to move off of DeAndre Ayton, who's really a net negative for a team. Gabe Vincent, who really shouldn't even be in the NBA at this point. And your biggest loss is Rui Hachimura. I think he's a great player, and Jackson Hayes is a filler. I think this could be a trade I could actually see happening.
I would love this trade actually. Next, we have Golden State receiving Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Thomas, and Brooklyn receives Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, and multiple firsts.
The reason I don't see this happening is I think Golden State is a little too loyal and they're going to hold on to Draymond Green.
That's true. Next, we have Golden State receiving Anthony Davis, and Dallas receives Draymond Green, Jonathan
Mm.
Kuminga, Buddy
You got
Hield,
the
and
teams wrong
multiple
here.
firsts. What?
Wait, what? Where? Oh,
Yeah,
you
no.
skipped one.
Oh, yeah. Oops, I did the wrong one. Brooklyn receives Anthony Davis. Dallas receives Nick Claxton, Terrence Mann, Dayron Sharp, Haywood Highsmith, and a lottery protected 2028 first round pick.
I like this, but I think Dallas already has a strong group of centers. So adding Nick Claxton and Dayron Sharp would really hurt them a lot. Already having what's his name? Daniel Gafford. Now, if you're gonna move Daniel Gafford, oh, that probably works out well. But I
Daniel
think
Gafford's probably going to be moved.
this is one of those trades I think you hold off on in general. Anthony Davis probably isn't gonna get moved this year, and I don't think this is the trade for him.
Next, we have the Golden State receiving Anthony Davis and Dallas receiving Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, and multiple firsts.
I think this comes down to the same thing I said before. Draymond Green probably isn't going to be moved. I think Kuminga and Hield are probably guarantees we move this trade deadline, but I think Draymond Green stays put. So I don't foresee Anthony. You might see this happening with Trace Jackson Davis, but you do need the Draymond Green contract to make it work.
Yeah. Next, we have one that I just thought of randomly. Well, I did it in the trade machine, but we have Chicago receiving Zion and New Orleans receiving Nikola Vucevic, Patrick Williams, and multiple first round picks.
So Zion feels like a trade candidate for Chicago. That would work out very well. You have Josh Giddey, who is a fantastic facilitator. A lob threat like Zion would do numbers for this team. So this is a trade that I actually can see happening. I think Patrick Williams is a guy they've been wanting to move off of for years. Just not a great player. Nikola Vucevic is a guy who's been stuck in purgatory, and sadly he's going to make his way to another purgatory team. The first round picks, I think you could probably get one. I don't think they're going to go multiple.
Okay, and then this is probably the trade that's most likely going to happen because this is what I've been seeing. And it's Detroit receiving Lowry Markkinen, and Utah receiving Tobias Harris, Duncan Robinson, Ron Holland, and multiple first round picks.
Yeah, I can see Laura Markkinen ending in Detroit. I think he's a really good player. He is someone who has been within this conference in the East. He played for the Cavs, played for the Bulls already. He understands his team. Detroit would be very well off getting a second scorer right behind Cade Cunningham.
I think that this is the best trade I've drawn up so far, but I've also been hearing this trade, so I'm not going to take full credit for it, but I'm going to take partial credit for it. So next we have New York. This is the trade right here that everybody that once Giannis and Kat started having their rift, I came up with it. We have New York receiving Giannis and Miles Turner. Milwaukee receives Kat, Mitchell Robinson, Gershon Yabusele, Miles McBride, Dylan Jones, and 3 first round picks.
I think there is a strong chance Cat gets moved this year. I just don't foresee Giannis actually being on the way. The only way I see Giannis ending up in New York is somehow if there's a three-team trade. I don't think that Cat is enough to garner Giannis. I don't think the picks you're going to get are going to matter much because you're going to have Giannis. So giving up Giannis and Miles Turner, probably your two best players, feels like Cat, Mitch Robinson, Gershon, and a few other role players aren't enough for it.
That makes sense. But that has been the NBA stuff. We just did a quick little NBA trade talk episode because we're going to do the full one next week, giving full trade predictions and everything. And then that one's going to be huge because I think we're going to have an NBA and an NFL episode next week because we have the trade deadline of the Super Bowl. So next we're going to move on to the NFL because there's been some news in the NFL. First one in which the Seahawks and the Patriots punched their tickets to the Super Bowl, meaning we are getting a rematch of the Super Bowl from 2015.
I hate saying this, it kind of felt like the most obvious selection going into the playoffs. Both teams had their ups and their downs, but Seattle looked like the real deal. And once you saw Bo Nix go down, it kind of felt clear as day that New England uh punched their ticket. And also, real quick, do you want to go over the numbers for what we won or for our picks
We'll do that next week.
next week?
We'll do
Okay,
that next week.
fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Because we're doing a prediction. So I'll keep it with the prediction this
in
week.
my
But yeah,
opinion, this felt obvious.
I mean, I think that the Patriots are one of the most fraudulent Super Bowl teams ever. They've only scored 54 points in 3 games in the playoffs, and Drake May has not looked good one single playoff game yet.
In
He
his
hasn't.
defense,
He
that was
hasn't.
the blizzard came down and he was facing a top five defense. So I think you can't fully say he hasn't been good. We saw what he did all season. I think Drake May is a fantastic quarterback. So
Yeah, but
I'm not taking much away.
this guy plays in blizzards. He should get used to it. He should be used to it. And the fact that
I'm
he threw up
sorry.
the
No,
fact that he passed for less than 100 yards in a conference championship game, it's Trent Dilfer production level. It is. It
you and I
is.
are gonna have to
And I
heavily
think
disagree on that.
and I think that this game just eliminated him from MVP conversation. I think it did. I think it did. He won, but he did not play well. They won in spite of him.
I'm gonna have to heavily disagree with you. But the next NFL news is a very surprising one. Shador Sanders makes the Pro Bowl roster.
The
Let
Pro
me
Bowl's
look
a
up what
joke.
his
The
stats were.
Pro Bowl 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 57.1% of his passes completed.
Yeah, I just don't. And with a 68 QBR, uh, this 100% you're right. The Pro Bowl is a joke, and
Trevor
I actually
Lawrence could
feel
have been
bad.
added to the Pro
I
Bowl.
feel bad for Shador because what is he
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do? Say no?
Yeah,
Um,
you're not going
like
to turn down a Pro
this
Bowl nod.
reminds me of the what's his name?
Tyler Huntley
Tyler
or Gardner
Huntley.
Minshew. Tyler Huntley and Gardner Minshew making the Pro Bowl. Like
You
they're both
know,
Pro Bowl
it
quarterbacks.
it feels so unnecessary, and I think that we're gonna see kind of I don't foresee. I know I'm not watching next week. Who cares? Like,
No
why
one
would I
cares about
care?
the Pro Bowl.
So it's a little ridiculous, and I think that we're going to absolutely find find one of the worst Pro Bowls we've ever had.
So you mean to tell me that Trevor Lawrence, who was way better this
Aaron
season,
Rodgers,
doesn't deserve the Pro Bowl, or Aaron Rodgers doesn't deserve the Pro Bowl?
Joe Burrow.
I'm pretty sure Lamar didn't make the Pro Bowl. Joe Burrow didn't.
I
I
could
don't
think
think
of
Justin
many.
Herbert made the
I'm not gonna
playoffs
lie, we're talking
or
rookie
Pro Bowl.
quarterbacks. What about Cam Ward?
Cam Ward was better.
Justin Herbert is in the Pro Bowl.
Oh, he is. Never
Um,
mind. That's right.
but here, you know what? Let's have this. I'm gonna pull up the AFC. The AFC, NFL. I'm gonna pull up the AFC. We're gonna do something a little different here, and Bryce. You're gonna tell me if a quarterback deserves to make it more than him. Tua Tagovailoa.
No.
We're not gonna talk about the Jets. They don't have quarterbacks. It's not real. CJ Stroud.
He, yes, but barely.
The Colts, their only quarterback who has a real chance injured. You said Cam Ward, yes.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes, he's injured. Never mind.
Yeah, he can't.
Fine. You know what? If I'm going numbers wise, Geno Smith, probably.
No, no,
Bo
no.
Nix, he's injured.
He's injured. Can't.
Still, we're talking quarterbacks. The fact that Trevor Lawrence or
Let's
Aaron
be honest.
Rodgers
Let's
didn't
be
make it.
honest. If Bo Nix was
Now that I go
healthy,
through the quarterbacks, there are a lot of injuries, so I can understand why he got that. There maybe the quarterbacks denied it or turned it down.
if Bo Nix was healthy, Drake May would have been the replacement.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Well, even if Bo Nix was healthy and then Drake May and then won, Bo Nix would have been his replacement.
Yeah,
Either one of those two, it would have been those two flopping.
yeah,
I just don't
yeah.
understand Trevor Lawrence. Is he
I
hurt?
don't. No, he's not.
Let
He's
me see.
not.
Trevor
He's not
Lawrence.
hurt. That's the thing. No, he's not.
He's healthy.
I don't know why, considering they won 13 games under Liam Cohen and
The
he
only
made
thing is
Trevor
maybe Trevor
Lawrence
Lawrence
look like
denied
a
it.
Pro Bowl quarterback.
Maybe Trevor Lawrence denied it.
I don't know, but still, I think it's dumb that. And I like Shador. I think that is he better? Is he better than a fifth round pick? Absolutely. Should he have started probably longer? Yeah, but to make the Pro Bowl with more interceptions than touchdowns is wild. It is, and this is why people don't care about the Pro Bowl
Oh, so
because
here's the
they do
thing.
stuff like this.
So Trevor Lawrence was named as an alternative over a month ago. It's very likely that Trevor Lawrence declined to participate,
That makes sense. That makes sense.
which makes more sense.
Next,
But then my question is Aaron Rodgers.
yeah, Aaron Rodgers, CJ Stroud,
Yeah, Stroud sucked, but
still better than Trevor
still
Lawrence,
had much better stats this
or
year. I
still
mean,
better than Shador
3,000
Sanders.
yards, 19 touchdowns, eight interceptions with a 92 QBR. Actually, he did not suck.
Davis
He was fine.
Davis Mills was better.
All right, we can go on that for hours.
Yep.
The next big thing is Joe Brady has been promoted to head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Bryce, what's
No,
your take on this?
I don't like this. I don't. I don't. Joe Brady is a guy who has made some of the most questionable calls as offensive coordinator in his tenure as the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. And now we think that all of a sudden, as the head coach, is going to be any different. We think that's going to be any different. Honestly, I hate their coaching carousel was kind of a carousel. It was a wild ride when they interviewed Philip Rivers. The only reason Joe Brady was named the head coach was because Philip Rivers turned down the job. That's it.
So
They
here's what
they
I think happened.
they either brought their mind was either Philip Rivers, and then when they said no, they're like, "Oh, we don't want to interview anybody else, so we're just going to name Joe Brady."
I think their mind actually came down to Mike McDaniel. And I think it was kind of clear as day he was going to stick with the Chargers as an option. I think what happened was they screwed themselves with that disgusting and awful press conference. Terry
Mm-hmm.
Pagula and Brandon Bean came out and made themselves look like idiots, and no
They
coach wanted
did.
to take that on. They're all like, I'm not going to deal with these guys making me their scapegoat. So they
Yeah.
had no choice. They overestimated people's wanting to play with Josh Allen. I love
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen, amazing player. But I think you have to look at it like, is it worth it if I get a second round exit and I'm scapegoated versus
No, I
screw it,
don't think
Joe
it is.
Brady? He's been here. Let him have it. Whatever. They're not going to be great. I think we've seen Joe Brady is not the most amazing offensive mind that we think he is. And you know what? They're going to do this themselves. Sean McDermott was the right choice to keep around, at least for another year.
Yeah. If they should have fired him, you're right. It should have been after the 2024 season, not the 2025 season. Next, we have an arguably worse hire as a head coach because, as I said on the podcast last week, the front runner to be the Steelers' new head coach was Mike McCarthy. And guess what, everybody? Mike McCarthy has been named the Steelers' new head coach.
So you and I have different opinions on this. Do I think there are better options? Yes, but for what they were actually going to get, I think McCarthy was probably the best choice. McCarthy is a coach who can develop a quarterback, which they're probably going to have to run with a younger quarterback. And he's a pretty decent offensive mind. I actually like what he's going to bring to this team. Look, the Steelers are the kind of team who doesn't want to make change. You want to go from Mike Tomlin to another Mike Tomlin? Mike McCarthy's your guy.
Yeah, and it sucks because they've had four head coaches in their entire history. They had Chuck Noll. It was who was before Tomlin? Oh, it was oh God, I can see him right now. I can see him right now. Oh God, it was Bill. Not Oh well. But four head coaches. Mike McCarthy is now the fourth head coach, which means Steelers fans, you have to put up
Bill
with
Cowher.
now Bill Cowher. Well, now Steelers fans, you have to put up with after Chuck Nolan, Bill Cowher, the Steelers fans have just been used to mid. And now Steelers fans for the next 10 years, 15 years, you can be used to terrible because that's what Mike McCarthy is, a terrible head coach.
Did you know that the Steelers haven't had a single coach who had a losing record for them?
He'll be Mike McCarthy will be the
Mike
first one. I'll tell you
Tomlin,
that right now.
119, 193, 114, and 2. Bill Cowher,
That's wild.
149, 90, and 1. Chuck Noll, 193, 148, and 1. That means they've also had four ties in their team's career, their team's history.
That's insane.
Not a
But
single coach of theirs has had a losing record, and I do believe Mike McCarthy will probably be the first.
yeah, I think he will. But next we have Brian Dable becoming the new Titans offensive
So
coordinator.
you and I talked a little bit this last week about the idea of if Mike McDaniel joined that team. I am, in my opinion, I think the same way about Brian Dable. I think as an offensive coordinator, he's fantastic. We saw what he did with Josh Allen the year he was their coordinator. I honestly, I love this for Tennessee. I know you as a Colts fan probably hate knowing that Brian Dable is going to be lining up against your team as an offensive coordinator.
I can't have anything good as a Colts fan. I really can't. I really can't. Like the Colts had to Andrew Luck. They had to deal with Andrew Luck's sudden retirement, and then it's been Matt Ryan and Philip Rivers twice, and then it's been Anthony Richardson's disappointment, and then Daniel Jones comes in, looks really good, gets hurt, and then Carson Wentz for a year, and
Sam
it's just
Ellinger.
and Jacoby Brissett for a year, and Sam Ellinger, and it's just when is enough going to be enough? And this is not even something the Colts did, and it's still hurting them. It's still affecting them negatively. But next, we are going to talk about Mike McDaniel becoming the Chargers OC. This is a good move. They become instantly the scariest team in the AFC West. They do.
What makes me worry about this team is we see so many teams when they hire coordinators and lose coordinators, they go really good at one area to really bad in another area. What scares me is getting McDaniel is about to make them a top five offensive team. I'm worried about losing Jesse Minter, making them a worse defensive team.
I don't worry about that. I really don't. Wait, we didn't put Jesse Minter in here, did we?
We did not.
Well, we're going to talk about that right now because Jesse Minter is the new head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. What is your takeaway on this?
I mean, it's perfect. I think it's the perfect pick for this team. As a team who's been struggling on defense for years, I don't think Zach Gore was ever the answer at DC. I think Jesse Minter is going to bring in a guy who he trusts the most. I would not be surprised if we see the cornerbacks coach from what's his name? Philadelphia.
There's also I could see them also bringing in the well, no, I don't think what the Panthers DC is leaving. I
Oh,
don't.
no, no, no,
I
no.
don't. Oh well, yeah, but the I forgot his name. Oh well. But I do think that this is a great move. However, I kind of wish they would have gone with a more offensive minded head coach because let's be honest, the face of the Baltimore Ravens right now is Lamar Jackson. And I think you need a guy that can help fit Lamar Jackson's scheme more than Harbaugh did
In
because
my
they were good in spite of John Harbaugh with Lamar Jackson.
If I'm being totally honest, I think one thing we're overlooking is Lamar Jackson is on the same level of football knowledge as a Patrick Mahomes. I think
Josh Allen, Joe Burrow.
Lamar Jackson is probably one of the smartest quarterbacks in the league. He knows how an offense runs, so you don't have to have an offensively gifted head coach because Lamar Jackson can make up for that. Their OC is gonna have has an easy job. You have Lamar Jackson, sometimes Zay
Derrick
Flowers,
Henry.
Derrick Henry, Isaiah Likely, a fantastic O line. I mean, I
Yep.
think that Lamar Jackson is a good enough offensive mind to make up for the loss of an offensive-minded head coach. I think this defense needed the help, and I'm really excited to see what this outstanding offense and then really good defense is going to look like next year. I would
Yeah.
not be surprised if you and I, a year from now, are sitting and talking about how Lamar Jackson is on the verge of his winning his first ever Super Bowl.
I'm going to pump the brakes on that because we talk about that every year that this is their year and this should have
Well,
been the year.
no,
This
because
should have
I'm
been the year.
sorry, you said it yourself. You were right. They were held back by John Harbaugh. He did things a certain way. Jesse Minter is a fresh breath. If they hired Mike McDonald, like everyone thought they should have, they would be staying in, they would be in this spot right now.
They would have because
I
Mike
I
McDonald's in the
really
Super Bowl right
like
now.
the idea of a young and wise defensive-minded coach. And I'm sorry, I have nothing against Zach Gore, but you need to move off of him.
You do. You do.
They run very different
I
schemes.
I think honestly that Jesse Minter should be the head coach of the DC. I think he should. I don't think they
He's
need
going
a
to bring
DC.
someone in. He's going to.
That's true. And I think honestly he might bring one of the Chargers coaches.
I wouldn't be
One of the
surprised if
Chargers
one of
defensive
his
coaches.
defensive assistants he probably brings over with him.
Yeah.
But do not be surprised if Zach Gore's on his way out very soon.
I think I think he's
I
going
heard he's interviewing for the
tomorrow.
DC of the Chargers. That's what I read. They requested to interview him.
Okay. No. What in the world?
On to
Now we
the
have
next thing.
Jonathan Gannon becoming the new Packers defensive coordinator.
I
What do
really
you think
like.
of
I
this?
think it's great. People act like Jonathan Gannon's whole legacy is his bad tenure as the head coach of what's it called of the Cardinals. No, I mean we've seen so many coaches. Brian Flores is my favorite example of this. Sometimes people are better off as coordinators. Jonathan Gannon was an amazing coordinator for the Eagles. He led that team in such strong ways. They looked outstanding underneath him. I like what they're going to do. I think he is going to run this team exactly the same way as he ran Philly. I think this team is going to get even better than before.
And I do think that this is going to be another situation like a Brian Flores to where they are carried solely by the fact that they have an elite defense. Minnesota, let's be honest, Minnesota shouldn't have been 9-8. They shouldn't have been. With their offensive struggles, they realistically should have been 4-13. But Brian Flores schemed the Vikings so perfectly that they were able to make up for the inadequacies that JJ McCarthy had, that Max Brosmer had, that Carson Wentz had. But now, I not that Green Bay's offense isn't good because it's good. It's scary because they have Jordan Love, they have John Jacobs, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgraves, all their receivers. But this is going to be a scenario where I could see now the Packers running the division for years to come.
I mean, they're finally have the defense to match their offense, which
They
makes
will.
me excited.
They will. But next, we have the Commanders hiring Durante Jones as their defensive coordinator.
Speaking of the Vikings, Durante Jones was the former quarterback coach there. I like the move. We saw how great Minnesota's DBs played this year. And I think Durante Jones is a younger guy. I think he is someone who you're going to see kind of change the mindset. Going with a defensive minded head coach, bringing someone who also is defensive minded in at such a strong DC. I think we're going to see a big step forward for Washington this year. And I think we're going to see them be a
Yeah,
potential massive bounce back. I think if Jaden
I
Daniels is
think
healthy, this defense was already very good, and they're going to get even better.
I do think that the Commanders need to make a lot of moves though, because it's an old team. It really is.
Mhm.
When Bobby Wagner is the captain of your defense and he's getting up there in age, I think you have a lot more issues to worry about than finding a new DC. I feel like they should have. Well, no, now I take that back a little because I do think that now they have their DC, they can sign guys that fit with the scheme that Durante Jones is going to want to go. But I do think that the Commanders need a lot more than just a DC on that side of the ball. But next we have Tommy Reese is the new Falcons offensive coordinator.
So
So
everyone loves
this
him.
is making it less and less op, op, optimistic for new head coaches to come to the Cleveland Browns because no Tommy Reese anymore.
I think this is interesting. I think Stefanski is a smart guy. He knows bringing the people with him are a good thing. Is a good thing. I actually didn't have an issue with Cleveland's offense this year.
I didn't.
I thought
Or
Cleveland's
their
offense played.
or
as
their defense.
well.
I didn't have an issue with
Cleveland's
either.
offense played as well as it could with the weapons they had. I'm excited to see what Tommy Reese can do
Yeah.
with Bijan
Bijan Robinson,
Robinson,
Kyle
Drake
Pitts,
May,
Michael
Kyle
Penix,
Pitts,
Drake
um,
May, Drake
uh,
London. You mean?
Drake London, sorry, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. This is a team who is arguably probably, I think now, in my opinion, they're favorites for that division. Bryce, since you're so upset with that, I'll jump into something that I feel is a very rash opinion, a rash
Yeah,
move. The
I saw
Broncos
this.
fire their offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi.
This is the stupidest thing in the world. Let's be honest. Had Bo Nix not have broke his ankle, we are
They
not
win.
having this conversation right now
Or if Sean
because
Payton takes
because
the field goal.
yeah, why did he go for it? I watched that whole game before I went to the card store to do the raffle. Why did they not kick that field goal when they were in New England's territory, and it was an easy field goal at that for Will Lutz. It was an easy field goal. And then they missed two straight field goals after that. They do.
My
This is
question
not
is,
an issue on Joe Lombardi at all.
do
It's an
we
issue
think that
on Sean Payton getting too risky and Bo Nix breaking his ankle.
this is them opening up the door for Davis Webb?
I think it is. I do think it is. I think Davis Webb is a big name for the coaching tree right now, as he's what their
31
quarterbacks
years
coach.
old,
Right?
quarterback's
He's their
coach.
quarterbacks coach. He's only 31. He's a former NFL quarterback at that. I do think that he is going to be their new offensive coordinator. I don't think Joe Lombardi should have got fired. Let's be honest. If there's any OC, Cleveland could very well pick up Joe Lombardi right now. They very well could.
I
I
mean,
do
yes,
think
their
it's going to
offense
happen.
looked a little stagnant at times this year, but also you have to question, is that the OC or is that the play calling from the coach?
I
Um,
do think it's a
the fact
big
that they
issue. I
had a
do
lot
think
of
it is.
major injuries as well. You can't blame Joe Lombardi for these. Once again, Bo Nix plays in that game, they win by a good 20 points.
J.K. Dobbins got hurt. R.J. Harvey missed some time.
Evan
Their
Ingram was out for
receiver
a good amount of
Evan
time.
Ingram has missed a lot of time. They brought in Evan Ingram to be this flashy new tight end, this improved tight end, and he absolutely stunk. He was terrible this year.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
I don't get it. I really don't.
461 and a touchdown. Just
Yeah, and he signed what, a 4 year, $85 million deal this offseason.
he got himself a bag with them.
Next, I saw this one. This is our final topic of the day because it's just absolutely insane how this did not happen. Bill Belichick was not named a Hall of Famer, meaning he will not be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I really think his last 3 years took a major toll on his legacy. Do I think Belichick should be a Hall of Famer? Yes. Probably should have been first ballot. I think his last 3 years genuinely tanked his legacy to the point where it's going to take him two or three tries.
I don't think it's that. I think Brady winning a Super Bowl in Tampa. I think Brady winning a Super Bowl in Tampa did it. I do.
But he
I
won it
think
with
I
Bruce
think
Arians.
had Brady have retired after 2020, I think it would have been a lot different. I do think Brady winning the Super Bowl the way they did in Tampa against Kansas City definitely stopped this from happening. I do. There's no way in hell you mean to tell me the greatest NFL coach of all time will not be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Also,
He won't.
I know that'll never be admitted, but of course they're not going to say this is a factor. This year of the Tar Heels, how bad they were, kind of kept people looking at him. Of course, it's not pro football. We understand college football and pro football are different, but that was a factor.
Even even not just counting his head coaching career. You look, he won multiple Super Bowls as a defensive coordinator with New York.
Yeah.
He won multiple Super Bowls under Bill Parcells in New York as their DC.
We can both
And you mean
agree
to
he
tell me
deserves to be a Hall of Famer.
he has 8 rings as a coach? 8. 6 as a head coach, 2 as a defensive coordinator. You mean to
He
tell me this guy is not
he is if he's first
first
ballot.
ballot?
I think it's Garrett. He should be. The fact that he's not, it comes down to pettiness.
It is. It
I
really
think
is.
it's solely because voters are like, screw him. He's kind of a jerk. They people don't like him very much. But you know what? Hey, he's got it. He has to, you know what? That's on them.
Guys, this is coming from me. I am the biggest Patriots hater the planet will and has ever seen. And if I'm saying this, he needs to be, they need to revoke everybody who has a vote on who gets into Canton and who doesn't right now. They need to take all their voting privileges away. This is the easiest first ballot Hall of Fame. If if he doesn't get in first ballot, no other coach in NFL history ever again should be a first ballot Hall of Fame coach. None. The greatest NFL head coach of all time is not first ballot.
It blows my mind.
I don't get it at all. But anyways, that's going to do it for the NBA and NFL episode. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh, we are filming a second episode this week because the Royal Rumble is on Saturday. And we're going to do a whole episode about it. So go ahead and watch that too. In fact, if you haven't watched it yet, what are you doing? Go watch it.
Yeah, what are
Go
you
watch
doing,
it.
bro?
I don't care if you're not a wrestling fan. Go watch it. Go support us anyways. Anyways, that's going to do it. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the Royal Rumble episode or next week if you're watching this one after the Royal Rumble episode. Peace.